Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
you are audible.
Thanks. Good afternoon and a warm welcome, everyone. I'm Surbi Saxena. Thanks all for joining us, and I think already 140 participants have joined in. Today, BPB Publications are pleased to present a webinar on artificial intelligence, an online learning journey to explore. The objective behind this online event is to get an overview of artificial intelligence curriculum, to understand classroom strategies and teaching methods, as AI has been introduced in the schools with an aim to make students well versed with the technologies. Now let's start with the introduction of BPB Publications. BPB is Asia's largest publisher of computer and information technology books from past 62 years, and is the India's most well-known and trusted brand with a satisfied and customer base of over 90 million. We have published over 5,000 titles from the world-class authors. BPB publishes quality print books, electronic books, and video courses on all the latest trending technologies. The vision is to continue to be the largest repository of IT knowledge and to provide world-class products at reasonable prices to the community. BPP content makes it more convenient for every student to learn and understand from the various industry experts. All our titles are prescribed and standard courseware at most of the leading schools, colleges, universities, and training institutes. Now it's a great honor and pleasure for us to invite the speakers of the day, Ms. Sangita Chadha and Ms. Harmeet Kaur, who have authored artificial intelligence textbooks for Class 8 and Class 9 as per CBSE by BPB Publications. Ms. Sangita Chadha has been working as head of the computer department in Ambience Public School, Safdarjung Enclave, and has over 20 years of experience in the field of education and teaching computer science, information practices to grade 11 and 12. She is a passionate educator, continuously working to make learning enjoyable for the learners. She has conducted ICT and net safety workshops for teachers and students. She has been a part of the curriculum development team for class 9th and 10th Information and Communication Technology with NCERT. He has co-authored class 9th and 10th ICT, class 12th Computer Science and Information Practices with NCERT, and has conducted teachers training workshops for SCERT teachers. Ms. Harmeet Kaur is currently working as senior computer teacher at Heritage Experiential Learning School, Gurgaon. She has over 21 years of experience in the field of education and IT. The profile includes teaching computer science and information practices to grades 11, 12, ICT educator for grades 8 to 10, artificial intelligence concepts to grade 9th, 10th. Harmeet is a Google certified trainer and is well proficient in Google Labs for education and uses it as a primary platform for classroom teaching. She is also IT curriculum developer for STEM integration. She has conducted various workshops to train the teachers with the objective to promote the use of technology. So welcome Sangita ji and Harmeet ji. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we are very much. Thank
We are
you.
very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Surbi. Same feeling here.
Please share your experience and knowledge. So everyone, please get ready.
Okay.
Over to you, Harmeet ji.
Thank you,
Thank
Surbi.
you so much. Yeah, thanks.
Artificial intelligence is a growing and important field in computer science. The goals of data scientists and tech professionals in recent times have been to create technology to allow computers to be able to make human-like smart decisions and behave in an intelligent manner. The primary objective of today's discussion is to understand how to create a pedagogical approach that emphasizes on the basic concepts of artificial intelligence. Hence, we shall be discussing a few classroom strategies for teaching AI concepts. The sole purpose shall remain to comprehend how to generate enough curiosity for students to motivate them towards self-directed learning, We shall try to encapsulate teaching AI via integrated learning with other subject domains and how collaborative project-based learning approaches to teach AI can enhance and further increment students' learning progression. Now, we have already taken the expectations from you people for today's workshop. Thank you for your responses. Over to you, Sangita.
Thank you, Harmeet. So I'm going to tell you about AI curriculum class for classes 8, 9, and 10. AI is a skill-based subject. The main objective of AI curriculum is to enhance multidisciplinary approach in teaching learning and also to make young generation aware about artificial intelligence. As I've seen, somebody has written in the question that why are we teaching AI curriculum to the students of these classes. So, therefore, the subject develops conceptual skills while learning the concepts of AI, applications of artificial intelligence, domain identification, problem identification, acquiring data, data exploration, visualization. It builds technical skills by using AI-powered tools, troubleshooting, and using Python programming language. It also develops and fosters life skills, that is, thinking skills, problem solving, creative thinking, decision making, leadership, and communication skills through concept building and applying it in technical skills. Next slide. Let me show you the curriculum of class 8, 9th, 10th using a mind map. I'll just share my mind map. Is it visible, Harmeet?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, class 8 AI curriculum, as all of you have seen, that AI is known as the AI Inspire module. And when we say AI Inspire module, then it has got, the curriculum has got 5 units in it. The first one is the Excite, to identify the 3 domains by Playway method. Then is the Relate, to actually correlate the relevance and applications of artificial intelligence in and around their daily lives. Next unit is Purpose, to develop the awareness and thus identify how artificial intelligence can help in solving their problems. Possibilities, to gather information about usage of artificial intelligence in different fields. AI Ethics, what are the ethical concerns about artificial intelligence? This is just for class 8, this module. Whereas when we talk about artificial intelligence for classes 9th and 10th, then the whole curriculum is broken down into 4 different sections. The first section is employability skills, and employability skills is also divided for 9th and 10th based on which covers self-management, ICT, entrepreneurial, and green skills. When we talk about the second unit, that is subject-specific skills, then subject specifics for class 9th. For class 9th, first of all, we cover introduction to artificial intelligence, which is basically a review of class 8th. Then introduction to artificial intelligence project cycle, then problem scoping, data acquisition, data exploration, modeling, and neural network. When we come to class 10th, then first of all, we are going to cover the revision of class 9th, and then we'll move to data science because we are having 3 different strands of artificial intelligence that we have to cover. So data science, we have already covered some of the data science concepts that we are going to revisit, and data access, packages, data visualization, and classification. Then we'll move to the next strand, computer vision. Computer vision also some of the basic concepts has been done in class 9. We'll review those, and then we are going to work around with the pixels and resolution, grayscale image, RGB, then image features, convolution, and CNN theory. Then we'll go to natural language processing, and this will, some of the concepts we have already done, like applications of NLP. We'll revisit all those, and then we are going to process the data processing using text normalization, sentence segmentation, tokenization, removing stop words and all, converting text to a common sense, lemmonization, and then TF-IDF and the applications of TF-IDF. Then at the end, we are going to evaluate, do the evaluation that what all concepts are there while evaluating any project. The third section, which is the practical work. So when we talk about the practical work, in class 9, we are introducing the students with Python programming language, and then followed by practical examination, because practical examination, the practical components are going to be tested in practical examinations only. So in class 10, we are going to do advanced Python, and in advanced Python, we are going to handle data science, most of the data science. And in data science, we are going to do all the three, that is the NumPy package, pandas, and data visualization using matplotlib.
Sangita, you are not, you will have to turn on your mic. I think somebody by mistake has switched you off. Could you please unmute yourself? Sangita?
Hanji Harmeet. Now I have to.
I think. Okay.
Okay.
So by mistake, if somebody had probably, just by mistake switched off your.
No problem.
So the last conversation, if you could just share about.
Sharmaji, please stop sharing. Excuse me, teachers. Yeah. So I'll just go to the last one.
Yeah, this is here. It's here. It's here.
No problem.
It's on the screen. Sangita, it is on the screen.
All right. No problem. So in class 10, we are going to do all this in the practical, and we can wind up this way. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harmeet. You can continue from the next slide.
Okay. Thank you, Sangita, for such a welcoming and engaging understanding about what the curriculum is all about. And in fact, indeed, it's such a vast curriculum that to cover the whole conversation in 1 hour is going to be a real challenge for us. So we are just going to restrict ourselves to the basic problems that as a class teacher, as a subject teacher, that we face in our classrooms, and how we as subject teachers can help you understand how to teach AI in your classrooms. So we have innumerable amount of techniques which are available online. We have multiple pedagogies available. We have many speakers explaining what is their experience in their own classrooms that has been discussed over a period of time in this virtual learning remote environment. So I'm just going to share a few strategies that have helped me as a teacher to teach artificial intelligence into my classroom. Now the challenge is that when we are looking at a particular topic from a very different perspective, I look at a syllabus component, let's say as example as designing a smart home. So I have to actually sit and decide that whether do I want to break it up, teaching the tool first of all, talking about the concept, showing them a video, expecting them to write up some work. So foremost, my most important tool that I use ever in my classroom is that of a lesson plan. Now for the audience, you will see that we have given you a bit.ly link at the left hand side. It will also be populated on the chat window in a short while. You can download the lesson plan that I'm just going to show you over here. So as a lesson plan is a most important tool that I use. Why? Because a lesson plan is a teacher's daily guide for what students need to learn, how it will be taught, and how learning will be measured. It has helped me as a teacher be more effective in my classroom because the detailed outline is available with me. All the planning that I do is outside the classroom, so that the classroom where I go and teach becomes a fun experience and a learning experience for my students. When teaching artificial intelligence, it is imperative for any teacher to have a flow of all classroom strategies and pedagogies lined up, which will be helpful in the dissemination of the information. As an example, let me share a plan with you. So, if you're looking at the same template that I had shared with you, you will see that you will have access to the prerequisites, the assessment criteria that you can have, the objectives, learning outcomes, and most importantly, since we are already in the virtual environment, very important is to understand how your transaction is going to go. So if you have the concepts cleared up that you have certain videos you want to show, there are certain strategies that you're going to apply like online tools of using Pattern and all. In a minute, I'll show you what are the different tools that I use in my classroom. So if the flow is clear to you and the deliverables that are expected out of the students is also clear to them, it becomes very easy if you're giving them an exemplar. Most importantly, it is important that you also share a rubric with them. Let me walk you through the different tools. So, yeah. So if you would just, okay, the first one that I definitely use in my classroom as for teaching AI is, as a hook for a lesson is the YouTube videos. YouTube has a wealth of resources from experts. Videos are interesting and engaging. I use them as a hook in my class lesson to complement the student learning. So we can make use of Edpuzzle, and we can use so many other strategies that are available over there. Amita Sharma ji, you are requested to please stop your screen. Thank you. Give me a minute. Okay. Thank you. So YouTube helps me. YouTube helps the students gather information from all the experts, worldwide initiatives that have been taken in the field of SDGs or the other prevalent world problems that we are looking at. So this is where I start with a lesson, or sometimes this is the part that I give the students to look at home. So when they come to the next class, I expect them to add their responses. Like how, for example, if I ask them a question, how can AI help us in our daily lives? I put that up on my learning management system. So I can use a Padlet as an explainer. So a Padlet is a great place for gathering ideas, sharing them. Students can add links, YouTube videos, files and images to the Padlet notes. And this is something that they can download and keep it for themselves also. And for me, it is a great way of record keeping. Kahoot is another tool that I very distinctly use. There is a wide variety of Kahoot quizzes which are already available on the topics that we are having in artificial intelligence. All you need to do is just go to the Kahoot platform, discover a quiz, or you can actually exercise and create your own quiz as per pertaining to the learning outcomes for your own lesson. I also design alternative check for understanding milestones, such as using crosswords, multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks, or simply match the following using learningapps.org. So you have a number of templates which are available over here, which can be customized as per according to my lesson plan. So these small nooks and corners that we make use of in our classroom make the subject not only very interesting, but they also provide a leverage to the teacher and the student both to understand where their learning progression has incremented right now. For example, as I was talking about making use of designing a floor plan. So in our curriculum, we have a part where we're talking about, let's say, designing a smart home. So we can make use of any free tool. All the tool structure that I'm telling you right now are completely free. So if you look at Usage Chart add-on that is there available in the Google Drive option. So Usage Chart lets my students create flowcharts and diagrams online. It reinforces classroom material because it enables my students to visualize the concepts that they have been learning. So all the discussions that were done, all the videos that were seen, everything that was done, they are able to visualize and create a floor plan by themselves over here. So another example, for example, I would like to show you of that, a very good example that the students have created on their own from the scratch. I also encourage my students to use other free resources like Canva, Animate, Adobe Spark, and Animaker to design illustrations and animations for their work. Now, the biggest challenge for us is, we keep on looking at the website. When is this syllabus going to tell us that what is it that we can put in the practical file for any subject? So the 50 marks practical, where we're talking about putting things in our practical work. We can also add up the ones the assignments that we create on a daily basis with the students just have either a digital repository, or you can take out printouts of certain posters, certain letters written, and you can add them to the folders. So all this, again, most importantly, as I mentioned in my lesson plan also, rubrics. Rubrics are great. It lets my students know what is expected of them, and it demystifies grades for them by clearly stating the expectations for a project. It helps me monitor a student's learning process and develop and revise a lesson plan accordingly. And sometimes what I do is I also make use of graphic organizers. For example, we have a template that is explained in a book is a research template. So we have used the research template graphic organizer extensively in 9 books that are there in various chapters across. And not only just create a research template, they also can do a self-assessment of themselves by using the research template rubric. My strong recommendation over here is that whatever deliverable is expected out of the students, you must attach a rubric along with. Because when you do that, they know what is the expectation level that they have to do. So they can probably revisit the rubric again. And then self-assessment, or in a matter of peer assessment also, a lot of learning can happen. So the story doesn't just end here that how I teach artificial intelligence in my class. Artificial intelligence does not necessarily have to be a teacher-led classroom. Most importantly, it has to be, the curiosity has to be there, that the students are inspired towards self-directed learning, because this subject will never be over, because there's so much to explore, so much to learn in this subject, until unless we do not push our students towards that direction where they get motivated to learn a lot of concepts on their own, they will never be able to figure this part out. So one tool that I use extensively is gamification. Students of any age bracket, you pick up 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, anywhere, you talk about inter-school competition, the first event they want to participate is gaming, because that is something that they have been doing for a long time at home and on the devices. So why not give them the challenge of creating their own games? So gamification helps me encourage student engagement. It is a real game changer for my students. It promotes intrinsic motivation, and it helps me create active learners, because when they create their own games, they own it. They design their own milestones, they design their own hardship levels and rewards, and that is something which is a great learning for the students in totality. One tool such as called as Kodu Game Lab that I strongly recommend for 8th, 9th. They can try this out in the labs. We can also talk about using code combat. Now, this is a one very favorite tool of mine, because this is helping us do two things in one go. One, it is not only letting the students play the game so that they can think what could be the logical and what could be the next logical step that they have to do. What are the different ways they have to play the game to go to the next level. Using the same thing, they are also learning the concept of algorithm, creative thinking is there, logic building is there, analytical reasonings are there. So in the form of a game, in the form of a game environment, we are giving them the option of revisiting these. So it is just not about creating own games or playing through what CBSE has told us. There's so many other tools that we can go for. So for example, there is another brain games portal that is available called as PropOffs. So it is leveraging the critical thinking in this game. So if they just pick up, it looks like a small wolf, sheep and cabbage game, or Sudoku, or Simple Mahom. So these are the games which help them visualize what are the next steps that they have to think about, because any artificial intelligence developer, if they want to become in the later part of their future, has to think analytically and has to be creative, because artificial intelligence is just
Harmeet, please unmute yourself. Somebody's muted you.
apologies. I think I missed out a certain part of the conversation. So Propose is one set of brain games set up where the students can visit the portal and actually play simple games just to understand how critical thinking works and how analytical reasoning can be inculcated in their day-to-day activities. Because ultimately, artificial intelligence is an art. You have to be creative about it. The way you try and you design the Rubix.ai, which is available over there, that they can make use of. So we already have a set of games which have been given by CBSE, like rock, paper, scissors, quick draw, auto draw, and mystery animal. So these are the games which are already in, which we are doing inside the classroom. So we just have to think a little bit out of the box and encourage them to explore certain areas and domains. Trust me, this works. Over to Sangita. Sangita?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So when we say teaching and learning artificial intelligence with other subject domains, that means interdisciplinary approach across subjects can be used in teaching and learning artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. When we talk about any of the life cycle, there comes a problem statement. So artificial intelligence cycle consists of the following stages, that is problem scoping, data acquisition, data exploration, modeling, and evaluation. Next slide. Problem scoping is used to set the goal for our project using 4W statement: who, what, where, and why regarding a particular problem. Once goal is set, now we need to collect the data pertaining to our problem statement. While collecting the data, it has to be authentic and reliable. So just collecting data and showing data does not make any sense out of it, as the data is a complex entity. So we need to present the data in such a manner that it should make sense. So various visualization tools are available that can be used to get sense out of the data, to make trends, relationships, and patterns so as to communicate it to the others effectively. Modeling. Once the data is collected and visualization is done, then
Sangita,
AI model can be prepared.
Sangita, I think my presentation tool has stopped. Let me just share it again.
All right.
Apologies, please continue.
Yeah. So various visualization tools are available that can be used to get sense out of data so as to make trends, relationships, and patterns so that we can communicate it to others efficiently. Now, once all this is done, we'll model the data, we'll model our AI, will prepare the model, and at the end, different models are compared for their efficiency and effectiveness so that we can deploy a particular model. Now, I am just going to share one example of integration of AI with science or computer science with science. So where I gave a problem statement to my students to gather, first of all, the different components of air, and then create a pie chart in Excel to visualize the data. And then the research work was done by the students regarding the pollutants of the air. They gathered AQI data in real time from the AQI sensors which are installed in our school premises to show empirical data using Excel dashboard. So this can be treated as a culmination project for class 9th based on real time, so that students will be able to understand that how you are collecting the data, what are the authentic ways to collect the data, and then once you have collected the data, because that doesn't make any sense because those are the numeric values. So you are creating, charts using Excel, graphs and charts using Excel to make sense out of the data, and you are able to read it in a particular manner. Next slide, please. So the next slide says exploring collaborative project-based learning approach to teach AI. So every time when we are dealing with any of a particular topic, so we should be working with a particular as a project. So an incremental progression to their learning on the concepts taught in class 9. Now we can focus on another aspect of data science. Next slide. That is storytelling. with data. Now, which encapsulates the whole concept of artificial intelligence project cycle. We can understand the concept here. The first one, what is it we are trying to read from the data? The next one states that what could be the most effective visualization technique or method in this context. The third one focuses on another concept of data science called exploratory data analysis, which basically means screening or removing the anomaly of data. The next step focuses on specific readings to be extracted for our story. And the last step is all about presenting the presentation tool to tell the whole story in its totality. Next slide. As an example, let us take the data from Indian Lok Sabha elections. There could be different inferences that we could predict from our empirical research. As an example, you can see in the slide, we have been able to present answers to the problem statements as given in the right side of the data set. Excel dashboard has been used, next slide, Harmeet. Excel dashboard has been used to explain different types of visualization methods for different purposes. Now, the students can use Python programming as visualization tool to represent their data. Next slide, Harmeet. They can create any project in any of the three domains, data science, computer vision, or natural language processing for that matter. So this is all about, people were asking about the projects, how we can do the projects. So I strongly feel that, we should teach students whatever is there, and then we can ask them to come up with any of their ideas, and we can treat small projects as a project only. And over to you, Harmeet.
Just to have a little clarity on, just to add to what Sangita just said over here, it was a great amalgamation of how you asked your students to go ahead and add up, sensitivity to the whole storytelling idea. It's a great idea, Sangita, and this year I'll definitely add up to my class 10 students batch over here. So, Sangita, just let me know over here, is it necessary that when we are talking about data science, being inculcated as a part of artificial intelligence, we have three main domains that you had mentioned. So is it mandatory that as a final term project for class 9th or for class 10th, it should be made in Python only?
No, it is not necessary that it has to be made using Python only. It depends upon the capability of the students. Whatever the students are able to do, maybe in my class, say 2-3 students are good to go with Python project for data science, and 2-3 they are not able to do anything with the Python. So maybe they can take a menu-driven program to just culminate the project basically, or they may be very good in Excel and they have their own dashboard and problem solving using Excel. That's also nice, fair enough, because that's up to us how we focus on the projects, how we want them to, because they are, after all, they are class 10 students. So we should ask them to do the project themselves instead of getting it from the internet, downloading it from the internet.
So as far as I understand it correctly, so the idea behind designing any project for artificial intelligence for class 9th or for class 10th goes around having a problem statement and figuring out a solution for that. It might be actually be possible to create it or not, and as simple as creating an Excel dashboard which is answering the data telling, the storytelling data technique that you just shared with us, or they make an actually menu-driven interface using Python, because this has been a challenge with many of us, where we have seen that the Python curriculum of class 10, many of us have got a little overwhelmed with it, that how do we complete this? And so what is your take on, since you're already teaching class 10 this year, what is your take on, how do you think you're going to, since it is a virtual classroom environment available right now that you have, so what's your take on taking this ahead in your classroom, and how do you want to inspire your students to go ahead with this? Just like you gave us the example of the clean air project that you did with your students last year. So
yes,
Your insight?
Yes, of course, Harmeet. Like you said that in class 10th this year, what my take on projects. So what I am going to do is I'm just simply going to teach them first of all the practical knowledge, giving them the ideas, and sharing my ideas and sharing the ideas which are available on the internet. And then those who are really very good, they can take up the projects. Like I have just shown you one simple. Storytelling just now we have shared, we can take that, or else I can ask them, those who are very good with the Excel capabilities, they are using Excel in their classroom from class 9th. So those who are good in that and they want to do a project in Excel, making the dashboard, or maybe incorporating making Excel files, data in Excel file, but making charts and all using Python. So
That's
whatever
another
they
very,
will like. Yes.
in fact, that's a very innovative idea of making the Excel files in CSV format and using the matplotlib in Python, and creating a data visualization dashboard from Python. That's a very good. So I just see one question coming in. That is, what about the beginner student? So not every student would be very well adept with answering.
I would like to recommend that if my students are not good in Excel or Python, maybe they are creative in making like AQI cycle we have done, so they
Yes.
can make the full. So we need to make portfolio basically, so that portfolio can be treated as their project. So if anybody is very creative in doing that, that can be treated
And
as a project.
also,
accordingly.
they can also, I think there are very small projects, like for example, the NLP part, like although it is recommended in with the CBSE syllabus that NLTK kit will not be taught to the students, but then there is also the students who are very good with photo imaging. So for them to understand how Photoshop works, right? All the filters that are working. So when they work with the one small project of having an image and making changes to the filters which are available using the RGB scale that is given over there. So those are also small programs which can be used as a final term project for class 10. It is not mandatory that everybody should be making use of the high profile packages. So please everyone, do not get overwhelmed. We are all a huge community holding each other's hands, and I think we all can step up. So before we go in any further, we would like to ask Surbhi, do we have a set of questions that you would like to share?
Yes, please.
Could you share some questions with us?
Yes, please. We want to take some questions as well.
So do you have the questions sets with you?
Yes, we are receiving questions. So can we start
Yes,
taking them
please.
now?
Yes, we
Okay.
can start taking them now.
Okay. So there is a question from Monica Kela. Ma'am, what should be the first video that we should show to class 8th and class 9th as an introduction to AI? So
Okay.
please, if you can just reply to that.
Okay. When you are talking about introduction of artificial intelligence, like when we were writing the class 8 book, in fact that was the tie that me and Sangita both had to understand how to introduce the subject. It's about having a human answer certain questions and something that human can't do and the computer is doing. How to make a beginner student understand that fact. So first of all, now everybody is so hyped up with so many objects around them, which is all termed under the concept of artificial intelligence. First of all, they need to understand that artificial intelligence is not when you have a washing machine. Artificial intelligence is not something which is already having a list of tasks to do and it is able to do. Because somebody cannot wash the clothes by hand and they can wash it by washing machine. A washing machine is not an artificial intelligence system. Artificial intelligence device is one which collects data, learns from their data, and then takes decisions to do that. So for example, if you're talking about playing a game or designing a chess game, chess game would be considered as an artificial intelligence game. Why? Because it is collecting your responses. When it is collecting your responses, it is storing that data. For example, if you're talking about a face recognition software, right? We are talking about biometric systems where people can just log in into a system using their biometric fingerprint scanner, something like that. So they have a repository of images from them. If you're talking about looking at a criminal database, we're talking about using assistants like Siri, like like Google Assistant. We're talking about those Alexa. We are talking about. So so first introduction video has to be something like a discussion around what are the things that you understand are done by human intelligence, and what are the terms which are identified and distinguished as artificial intelligence. So not everything that is electronic is artificial intelligence. First of all, that disparity needs to be made very clear. So if you go in chapter number 1, I think in the first or third section itself, after a lot of examples that have been given, the first video link is available on YouTube. There are many videos available online, but you will have to figure out the lot that you have and how you want to cut down. Sangita, do you want to add anything to this?
Yes, Harmeet, you have covered everything. I think that is the best way to go about it. Like even if when I started in my class, the same way I did, I've asked them about the games, what they play online, and how the technology works over there, and then connected those things to the artificial intelligence.
In fact, if you remember when we start with the class 8 syllabus, there are those 3 games which very clearly distinguishes to the students. So if you are introducing a concept in the class, it doesn't have to be a boring class. You cannot just go walk inside the class and say, today we will play rock, paper, scissors. They need to understand that when they are doing that game online, or when they are doing mystery animal where some questions are being asked by the system, how is the recognition happening? What is it that the system is storing that it is able to answer when you are drawing different figures using quick draw? They need to understand what Google experiments are, what are the things that are going online. So all these things, they help the students. Yes, Sangita.
I would like to add one thing, Harmeet, over here. Whenever we are starting any of the game, please don't tell students beforehand that what they are, it is about. Like, you just ask them to play it. You will see that they are so happy. But then add a line that afterwards we'll have a session discussing about the game. All right. So they will, while playing, their mind will be thinking that what kind of questions is she going to ask after such a playful game, right? And after that, once you start asking, they will be able to tell you the answers to every question of yours, as well as they are going to tell you more games of this sort, and they would love the subject.
Yes. So the more playful and gamified, that's what I explained in my part of the session also, that if you have, let them make the games, because when they start thinking from the perspective of the other side, that if I have to play this game, how do I make it difficult? So once they start creating, they start owning it, then they love to play the game, they like to show off stuff, and that is unintentionally in a very covered environment. All the learning outcomes that we are trying to do, analytical reasoning, logic building, critical thinking, thinking out of the box, all the skills that we are trying to explain to the students automatically get imbibed in their conversation. So one of the conversations I see over here, another one is that, which is a good stream. See, when you talk about a good stream, when they do artificial intelligence as a sixth subject, so we all know that the artificial intelligence has been introduced as a subject from class 6 to class 12. So the 12 hours that you have in class 8, it is not mandatory that you do it in class 8. Those 12 hours can be covered any part of the years, either in 6th, either in 7th or 8th, or you can have modules, and you can actually give sessions to students in your ICT period where they can actually learn the basic concepts. Trust me, small children, when they talk about creating small games in Scratch or making those, there's a very good website, machinelearning.co.uk, which is having very small examples of creating their own games. Usage of microbit. There is no dearth of resources which is available online. We talk about class 9th and 10th, it's a skill subject. So of course it is going to be a 6th subject. So now if the student is already having 5 main subjects, the heaviness of having a 6th subject will also be a situation that is something that you're going to have. And of course, the number of periods are less. So you will have to think out of the box and your plan has to be very creative. That is why the lesson plan that we gave you in the beginning, you can look at a few deliverables, you can look at a few examples, do the planning outside the classroom. It becomes really easy when you go online inside the classroom. And for 11th and 12th, it's again going to be a skill subject which is of 50 and 50. It's a 6th subject. So it cannot be taken with computer science or informatics practices in class 11 and 12. But anyways, today we are talking about class 8, 9th and 10th.
It can be taken. Harmeet, it can be taken.
Okay, I might be not knowing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so going ahead with the next question is AI. Yes, it's a skill-based subject, Mr. Gurji. It's a skill-based subject, so it falls under the category of the vocational. So the theory is for 50 marks and the practical is for also 50 marks. The practical component of the syllabus is going to be Python for 50 marks. We have already given you enough examples during the presentation. And the theory is of course going to be 10 marks for employability skills, and the other one is going to be that of the 40 marks. So before we move on, I would also like to share some conversations with you over here. So if you look at the curriculum part, it's the new book that is out there for class 9. As Sangita ma'am had already shared in the beginning, that employability is a part of all the class 9th and class 10th curriculum. It is there as a part of the skill subject, 10 marks is there. So the new version that has been out for our book is already containing these chapters. So part A is employability, part B is containing of all the course content for that particular year. And we have enough part C, D options available where you have the Viva questions, the practical exercises, there are sampler projects, there are co-curricular activities that you can make use of, like designing a poster, how it is relevant with employability integration, how you can do the balloon debates, how you can do the Google Story Speaker, what are the other co-curricular activities, like letter writing. So you can add up all those, and of course, Sangita, would you like to talk something about the sample paper? Sangita ma'am?
Yes, Harmeet.
So the sample, could you talk about the theory part of the sample paper?
It is as per the CBSE guidelines, the sample paper is like, theory. The theory is also having 50 marks, and then in the 50 marks, we are having MCQ, match the following and fill in the blanks. And then whatever questions are coming, it is not coming for, more than, like it is always 1 or 2 markers. It won't be like 4 markers, 5 markers, nothing of that sort.
So do you agree, Sangita ma'am, that if you were doing those small activities in your class where you're doing crossword puzzles, you're doing match the following, you're doing fill in the blanks in your classroom with small activities where you have check for understanding, won't it be helpful for any child to not actually write it in a notebook but actually learn it while in the session? I think you have played a lot of games in your classroom last year. If you could just add on to that.
When I do, whatever I did in my class 9th, I have taught them each and everything by a gamify method only. So, if at all I have to teach neural network, then also I have taken a game and, which is prepared by the Google and the Microsoft. So I'm just giving them those games and then they play around, and whatever questions I'm giving, they are able to answer because they are relating to it. A lot of research works have been given to them to do so that they can work around with the, tools, and they should be able to understand it in a better manner so that they should not mugify anything and write as it is. So they have their, I feel it that we should allow their brains to think beyond, because normally we don't think beyond, we just read and we think that this is the answer to it, that's it. But students are not like that. So we should allow them to think beyond the and box. They should be allowed to write whatever they think. And if you are not giving them correcting if they're writing some answer and you're saying that this is not correct. So you should give the reason to it, right? You should tell them that even for that matter, if a student is writing a program in Python and you are saying that out of 3 you are giving 2, then you should justify those 2 marks. You should justify that the efficiency and why you have deducted 1 mark when the program is running correctly. So that way, even for the theory as well, you should allow them to think beyond whatever you are thinking.
Sangita, I saw one question. In fact, I saw 2 questions where the answer, I think you can give much better in that. That is, how is it being implemented with other subjects? So I think you gave a very valid example where the students were actually really taking part in a problem statement, right? So there was a prevalent problem of air pollution. There was a prevalent problem of understanding how the AQI is affecting on school premise where there is no traffic and there is nothing that is available, that is happening. How is it affecting the students' health? So I presume, could you just give another example if you had to integrate it with some other subject other than science, which seems to be a very plausible way of collecting data? Even any other subject that you think that you could have done with?
Social science. Social science also we can do. We can teach them the hierarchy of, how the, if you talk about Gram Panchayat and all, I'm not good at social science, but, still you ask some other subject. So I thought of it that, social science can be done, and we can teach them the hierarchy that, how, if there is a problem, where it has to be gone first, and then from there to which place, and then from where to where. So that way also we can teach them that, the project cycle, how it flows.
Exactly. That's what I was coming back to. That whether you pick up a problem statement in literature, you pick up a problem statement. Remember when we were talking about that English poem that we had picked up?
Yes, absolutely.
The English poem. So basically, it is just having an approach towards a problem statement. Irrespective of that problem statement, it could be water cycle, it could be Gram Panchayat, it could be figuring out what are the music trends.
Yeah.
What are the music trends? How is driving causing? So just having to figure out. Just for example, the very latest one in my classes is something. Everything is coming around to COVID. So whether COVID is going to go, whether COVID is going to stay, they have seen those visualizers online. So they want to make their own data sets, pick up the data from actual real life places like data.world, and Kaggle data sets can be picked up, and they can make their own Excel dashboards or make their own Python visualization techniques to be utilized. So there is no dearth of integrating it with other subjects. And in fact, for class 6 to 10th, I think CBSE has already come up with a AI integration manual, the one that you were telling me also, where you can actually incorporate it into different lesson plans. So it is available on the CBSE website. I think you can pick it up from there. And as far as sharing, Jennifer, Sangita, could you just type down the web link that is there, because I'm on the presentation, the lesson plan resource that we had shared. Could you just mention that, the bit.ly link, because somebody is asking for that?
I'll just do that. Give me a minute.
So I think more or less we have tried to cover most of the things. We would just like to have a feedback from most of you. So we would request that if you could just go for, if you could just mention, a few topics that you would feel that are topics for further training. We would definitely like to take further sessions regarding that. This is really interesting to see the topics flowing in, more practical work to be demonstrated, of course, in the session. Okay. See, as far as Python coding is concerned, and see, one-on-one sessions of understanding how Python coding has to be done, I think most of us have been doing a lot of research online on how to teach Python to grade 9 and grade 10. So my idea would be that why not start making the students think about replacing things that they are doing in Excel with things that they are doing in Python. So if I were to ask them how to do a Fibonacci series, or if I were to ask them how to present a VLOOKUP, if they can use some kind of a coding to actually filter data in this in Python, or making a simple dashboard using pivot tables in Excel, I think that really works. Okay, so I think we have got a few list of topics for this. Thank you to all the 30 people who answered. We were expecting more. I see around 190 people, so I guess we have been able to explore and give a lot of resources and information to the people. We would further like to ask you to give you your feedback. It would be a great learning for all of us, and how we can actually design our next session for you. For all the information regarding the books, regarding the books and regarding the availability of books, you have received an email from our representative where you got the link. You can always reply back and you can ask the person on the other side via phone or email. Just one request: whenever you're looking for some conversation regarding the book, you should be sending your name, school address with PIN code, because that is mandatory for us to understand where you're asking the book to be delivered, or which school is wanting to have an access to the resources. That would be really great. It has been a great pleasure to have had you for company today. I would now request simultaneously, while people are still sharing their responses, I would now like to invite Surbhi for her closing marks.
Yes,
Surbhi
please.
ma'am?
Yes, please.
We are right on time, Surbhi ma'am. It's 4:58.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harmeet ma'am, Sangita ma'am, for the excellent explanation. Wonderful teaching methods with great presentation. It was very helpful, impactful, and we really appreciate your efforts to make the session very useful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We would also like to thank all the dear participants, and we are sure that the session has developed more awareness and knowledge. So we look forward to see you all in our next webinar. Also, we would like to share that we have many other books on artificial intelligence covering the basics for school students and for beginners to learn AI and its applications in our life. Besides that, we have BPP computer course, sample papers for exam success, let us C, let us C++, let us Java, and many more books which every school should have. The details of these books are available on BpbOnline.com. So we hope that you all benefited from this webinar, and all the other queries will be answered after this webinar. So I think we should close the session.
I think it's great. We have
Yeah.
a minute to close. And thank you very much for the opportunity. And for all the people who are still waiting for the class 10th book, we are in the process.